Welcome back to the shop. Today is go time for the V-core 4 from Ratrig. This is going to be my first kit style Core XY 3D printer, and today we are going to do the unboxing. Ideally, I also am going to do the complete frame. In the next video, we are going to do the electronics, and in the third video, we will do the first print. And as it happened, I ordered this Ratrig without really reading what I was buying. So we are missing the panels. The panels were actually an extra optional cost. We have to order our own panels, but maybe I will do something cool at the end. And I also want to do some heating, so we are going to design our own heater. If you're also interested in that, make sure to be subscribed. But today we are going to unpack this thing and make the frame. The Ratrig is unboxed, and I could see the packaging, top-notch, good quality foam around every part, even the frame legs and all of that. It all seems to be very well packed. Now, another cool thing I could see is that the ends of this little tube right over here are all nicely milled. You can see the finish of this is very nice. Another thing we can see is that these slots are milled out, and this is apparently for the ease of assembly, so you have always a very square frame. Now we are going to see if that's going to be true. We're also going to see if the Ratrig is fairly easy to build, and I will use the manual this time. I hope I don't skip too much of those steps, but yeah, I have talked with the Ratrig engineer. We had a little chat at Fornext, and he told me to take it nice and slow, take the time, and if I find any faults, to relay back to them. Now, this machine is already out for a few months, so I hope everything is mostly ironed out. And in one of those boxes we could find this card. This is a QR code that will take me to the manual, which is what I'm going to do right now. Well, the first thing we can notice is the sheer amount of hardware they are delivering with the Ratrig V-core. We can see a massive baggie over here. These are all bolts and nuts. We have a huge amount of T-nuts. We have so many stuff. We have bearings, we have washers, so it's going to be very important that we keep the manual nice and close. One thing we can see is that they are using the big Tech Octopus boards. They are also using the WeHo power supply. No clue if this is a good brand. We also found an orbiter extruder, a huge amount of printed parts. Over here we have all our motors, and we have a Fetus Rapido hot end number 2. This is probably better than the one, I guess. We also have a big Tech canvas board. I think this is probably going to be the breakout board behind the print head for the CAN bus connection. Then we can also see they are going to use beacon for the leveling. This is going to be absolutely new for me. It should be very fast leveling. It is basically instant, so very eager to see what this thing is going to do. They also supplied the steppers and heatsink separately. Then we also have the Raspberry Pi. Are using this for the RedOS, and they have some fancy calibration that we will see in the software section. We also have a baggie for the toolhead cables. We have some more cables. We got some belts, USB cables, a fan, some feet. We also have a few rolls of what looks like to be foam. We're going to see what this is going to be used for. We also have a massive fan. This is going to be for building the housing where the big Tech Octopus is going to live. We got the bottom paneling. We have our linear rails. We got some more fancy linear rails. This is probably going to be the beam for the motion system. We have some lead screws. Now the only thing I need to do is try to make sense out of all these baggies and try to build the best Core XY that is open source and has all the beautiful things of open source, because believe it or not, Bamboo just made big oopsie. They lost faith at a lot of people that are in the Bamboo ecosystem. I have never been a big fan out of them. So this is going to be the best time to show you what open source is going to be and what we can do with open source systems like the Ratrig. All right, enough talking, time to build the frame. the frame is done. We have good news and bad news. First, let's start with the good news. Everything went perfectly fine. We have done the exact build like you can see. Not in the shop, I have tried it to do it on this table. It seems that this table is definitely not flat. So I have taken everything inside into the kitchen. We have a massive stone slab on the kitchen, and we have done all the straightening and tightening. Everything like this joint, you just snap it on like that. And this is going to make it straight-ish. Now you could see we have some quick connect joints. So everything that is connected in a T has a quick connect joint that works perfectly fine. There is absolutely no problem. I had to do a little tappy taps on some of those holes. They are a little bit tight on some. There were also a few that were fairly loose. So there seems to be a little bit of a difference between the things that are drilled and probably the drill bit that they have used. Not a major concern. Everything is super tight. The instructions, super clear. There is absolutely nothing wrong with the instructions. There are two motor mounts right over here to make this piece right over here straight with this piece. This now needs to be removed in order to continue the build, but that is going to be for another video. But everything is nicely described in the manual. And also another cool thing I have found out with the manual is that you can add a comment. So everybody that already have built this machine is adding comments to points that maybe are not super clear, and some people just put in an extra comment and say, hey dude, watch out for that, which is super cool, so they don't have to readjust the manual for every little nitpick that you might have. So if you have some opinions on some things on the instructions, you can just put them in the comments just for the people to help them out from, hey, watch out, these mounts need to be removed. Now everything has gone smooth and well. The only thing I found a little bit weird is that some things that you need to tighten use this 3D printed block. Now, 3D prints these days are fairly accurate, but I still find it weird that we are doing some precision mounting with a plastic 3D printed block. I would rather have something acrylic cut or something like that. But yeah, it seems to work. We are going to see if that is going to influence the results we are going to get. But right now, I have a good feeling that the frame is just absolutely perfect. Everything aligned very nice, and I actually could see that the stuff I mounted on this table, I took it to my granite counter. That thing is dead flat, it is polished and all of that, and we could actually see that the part was wobbling. So it is really important that you mount the frame on something that is actually flat and not only is looking flat like my table is doing. This table is completely handmade, so there could be some variance, which is also going to be the bad news I'm going to have. And yeah, that is going to be a big whoopsie for me. So where I'm sitting now should be the place that the Ratrig would live. Now there is a big problem. It's not going to fit. Even if I remove this little lip where the lighting is sitting, this thing is never fitting under this overhang. So right now I'm a bit in a pickle. The machine that I made the space for is not going to fit in it. You freaking idiot. Couldn't you just make it 5 centimeters higher, then it would fit without any problems? How did I screw that up so wrong? So I have been thinking about that for a hot minute, and I'm going to probably make a little cart for it. So something with 4 wheels that I can sit on it and I can just drive it around. Because honestly, that is probably the only thing that I can do to make it sit right here in the shop. Very sad, it's not going to be in the set, which means that if we are going to use it, we can maybe roll the cart around the table that you always see, but it is not going to live right over here. Good news is we have more space for printers. Yay! The next thing that we are going to do is going to be installing the motion system. So we have to do a lot of brackets, and then we need to add some more parts in order to fit the motion system to that thing behind the camera. And we will see from there where we are going to land. But right now the frame is done. I am super happy with how everything went. It is actually refreshing to build something open source. I have used the CAD to figure some things out, but yeah, in all honesty, I do like tinkering on printers. Not as much when I really need to do work, and if it breaks down when I need to do work, it is super frustrating. So I hope that this thing, once built, is going to be lasting a lifetime. The Vorons have a good name of lasting a long lifetime once they are fixed and all of that. So yeah, that's gonna be it. So the next video, motion system, belts and all of that, and I see you in the next one.